Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Thoughts. And if you haven't seen any of my other Sunday Morning Thoughts videos, this is just a time where I wake up, still waking up, drinking coffee, and just talk about whatever is on my mind. And what is on my mind this morning is how grateful I am feeling to have had top surgery, because 2 years ago I was kind of preparing to have top surgery. I had top surgery September 25th. So my 2-year anniversary is coming up and I just feel super grateful and awesome. And I was thinking a lot about the process of what led up to having surgery. And when I think about what led up to surgery, it also reminds me that when people tell me all the time, or they reminded me like, God doesn't want you to change your body. He doesn't want you to change who he created you to be. He created you as this female and that is who you are, and to change yourself, you're created in his image, it's a sin. But then I think of this story and how everything played out, and it's like if I experienced or felt God in my life at any point, then this is it. And here's why. About 3 years ago, I actually scheduled top surgery, and I scheduled it for September 11th. This was 3 years ago, but I was in a different job and I didn't have anything protecting me for medical leave, or I didn't have the funds for surgery. All I had the funds for was to set a date, but I had to keep postponing it because I didn't have the funds or the way to take time off work. So I got a new job a year or so later, or a little bit later. I got a new job where I had medical leave and they couldn't discriminate against me, and I had benefits, but it still didn't cover top surgery, so that kind of sucked. But I could at least find a way to pay for it and have it. So I didn't know this, but I was feeling very roadblocked, and this comes to mind also to think of patience is such a large thing in our lives that we need to remember. I struggle with patience a lot, but I had almost come to the conclusion that top surgery wasn't going to be possible because I would never have the money to pay for it. But so story time, here it goes. One random night, it was me and 2 other friends. We were at a random pub in my hometown, and one of my friends had maybe a little bit too much to drink, and they confessed to my other friend, who I had not told about any of what was going on, that I had scheduled top surgery, but I couldn't have it because I couldn't pay for it, and I had gender dysphoria, and I wore a binder, and etc. And so this friend obviously saw that this was something that was very important for me and offered to help pay. And I wasn't sure if she was serious at the time because we all had a little bit to drink, but I told her I would text her in the morning and ask again when she was sober, and if she was still willing to help me pay for it, then she would tell me yay or nay. So it comes to find out that she's able to loan me enough money to pay for half the surgery. And so I'm racking my mind, how can I pay for the other half of the surgery? And the only thing I could think of to do was to apply for a credit card. So I applied for a credit card, and this credit card had given me enough to, it was like exactly the other half of the amount for the surgery, and that was kind of like, what? That's crazy. So now I knew it was possible, and I called up to get a surgery date, got that scheduled, and it was like a month out, and got it paid for. But then I also lived on my own. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, being on medical leave without being paid. But then going through weeks of anxiety trying to figure out how I'm going to survive paying rent and all that while I'm not able to work, I get this email from my school telling me that I am qualifying for a refund, and I didn't know if I was being scammed. Talked it over with my friend, was like, hey, is this a scam? Should I look into this? And she seemed to think that it was real because she had told me previously that I was paying too much and that she didn't understand why I had to pay so much. And I think it was because I was paying extra for books or something along those lines, but I was definitely paying the school too much. And I think they got sued by somebody else, so they had to give refunds to people that they overcharged. So pursued this refund, and little did I know that it was real. And I got my refund, and it was enough for me to live off for a month of being on medical leave without pay. I could pay rent, I could eat, and it just kind of is crazy to me to look back and see how everything lined up. Like, accidentally my friend spilled the beans to my other friend who happened to be willing to help me out pay for half the surgery. Then I applied for this credit card and it gave me the exact amount of the other half of the surgery. Then I get this random refund and from the school that I could live off of. And it was almost like at a time where I felt like it was never going to be possible and I felt so stuck and roadblocked, and like the answer was no. Like maybe God was telling me, no, you are not supposed to transition, but it wasn't that he was saying no, he was just saying not right now. So it was like I had to wait for the right timing. And in this moment, this is when it was like, go, green light, timing is right, you're in the right job, you're surrounded by the right people, you're gonna have the right support. And so it was just, it's amazing for me to look back at this time of 2 years ago just to see how everything lined up and how patience played such a big role in everything. It's a reminder of my time in my life right now where I feel like this is probably another time where I need to look at the bigger picture and just wait for the right time and have patience with my job and moving out. And yeah, I'm kind of baffled by the timing and how everything worked out, and I just thought I would share that story. So if you're feeling like it's never a possibility for you to reach something in your life, whether it's transition goals, top surgery, bottom surgery, or career goals, or etc., just know that it is possible and that maybe it just takes a little patience and a little perseverance, and keep your head up because eventually you'll get there. So yeah, peace out guys. I'll see you next week.